Hey fellow golfers, I've got the brand new 917 D3 driver with me today, and I won't lie, I'm really excited. Having been a Titleist player or Titleist fan for many years, can't really say that I've been a player. This driver by far is the best that Titleist have done. Now, being the D3 variant in this lineup, this driver is definitely aimed at your stronger, lower handicap player. Not necessarily just stronger because of the shaft options, but definitely the player that is looking to work the ball around the golf course. Hit that high fade, hit that low draw around the corner. Purely because of the smaller head, the driver is a little bit more workable. For those of you that are looking for something a bit more forgiving, don't forget, they do offer you the more forgiving, more stable D2 variant. This one, however, is definitely for the purist, for the better golfer. Let me run you through some of the tech. First up, you'll see there's this big gash at the bottom of the driver. Basically, the active recoil channel. You may remember that from the previous generation, the 915, first time the Titleist introduced it. Now, the beauty about this channel, or the 2.0 version as they're calling it, it's slightly deeper. It's a little bit wider than the previous generation was. So what that allows is more face flex than before. Basically, the concept is you miss hitting it, you want that face to flex, you want that rebound energy to go straight into the golf ball, effectively giving you more distance. We saw a substantial increase in 915 in terms of ball speed off the face. With the first introduction, we've managed to see another 1.5 to 2 miles an hour faster across the face of the newer version, which is really impressive. For me, the biggest change in the 917 by far is the reworked Radial speed face technology called the Radial Speed Face 2.0. Now, you might be sitting there asking, why is this the biggest feature? Well, for those of you that are in the know, Titleist have always prided themselves on being an extremely accurate driver, yet comparable to modern drivers, even the 915, one of the most accurate, but not one of the longest. By revamping the Radial Speed Face, we have a whole new animal in the 917. The revamp, basically what they've done, they have strategically behind the face re-engineered the face thinner in areas, specifically around the perimeter of the golf club, which allows a certain amount of face flex, obviously within legal limits. Don't want to give you a club that's not legal. By doing that, the weight they've saved, they have been able to redistribute it, make the driver more forgiving, but in essence, making the face lighter and thinner gives you more speed, gives you more distance, which is really cool. Moving right along to something else that is brand new in the 917, you might have seen this little chamber at the back here. This is called the SureFit CG system. Now, without getting complicated, this is the first time that Titleist actually allows you a center of gravity change towards a draw bias or even a fade bias. They do this by utilizing a little pin like this. If you are a guy like me that hits a big slingy hook quite often and all day, what you would do is you would put the heavy weight towards the toe area. The driver would just tend to stay a little bit more open, fighting that big hook for you. And vice versa, if you're a guy that's hitting a big fade, you can now make sure that the weight is in the heel of the club, allowing the club to actually turn over a little bit easier. That, to me, really good technology. What I like the most about it, you'll see that this sleeve or this slot where the actual weight sits is still positioned quite far back in the driver. Why that's key, guys, and why that's important for me? That keeps the stability or the MOO value of the driver quite high. If you move it too far forward, you're actually giving it an axis to rotate on, whereas keeping it at the back, you're keeping the stability as high as you possibly can. We still seeing the SureFit CG system. Now, this has been tried and tested, and why this is so impressive to me is it's exactly the same as it was in their first generation, the 910 from 8 years ago. Now, you might be sitting there, hang on. Everybody changes their sleeve with every release. Titleist, in my mind, has gotten it spot on from the beginning. It is now the only decoupled system left on the market. What I mean by decoupled is quite straightforward. You can set up loft angle of the driver or face angle independently. As you might be aware, most other sleeves, as soon as you start altering loft, the face angle changes, or you change the face angle, the loft goes down or up, or whatever the case is, depending on what you're doing. The Titleist version does not do that. Still allowing you 16 unique settings as before. The driver gives you the ability to de-loft it by 0.75 of a degree or loft it up by as much as 1.5 degrees either way. That also does include a face angle that you can close 1.5 as well as open at 0.75 degrees. It all sounds quite confusing, guys, but I have always been an advocate. The 915, the 917, anything from Titleist with this amount of options, you need to have it fitted, you need to have it checked. Throw on top of that that they give you 5 stock shafts to choose from to begin with. So just take a step back and absorb that there for a second. You've got 5 shaft options. You've got 2 head options. You have got a 16th setting sure fit sleeve, and then they've just added in the CG setting. If you are confident that you can work that out yourself, kudos to you. I would be very, very impressed. I would, however, recommend to those of you that are sitting there going, wow, that's a lot, please, by all means, go see your nearest fitter. Let them set up this driver perfectly for you.